Thank you for joining us again today, and we continue with the discussion of helping or supporting grieving people. Today we focus on what not to do to a person who is going through grief, and we said grief is a process that a person goes through when they lose a loved one, they lose something meaningful to their lives, or the even loss of health. Whatever kind of loss that a person goes through or experiences comes with its own emotions, and this is what we are talking about. When someone is going through the grieving season, what is it that is not okay to do? Number one of what not to do is do not tell them you understand. You may have been separated and they are going through a separation. You experience something different from what they are experiencing. So clearly you do not understand. You may have lost a loved one yesterday, they lose a loved one today. Your experiences are totally different. Again, you do not understand. And most of the people going through grief, when someone says, I understand, because they reason from a place of pain. And while reasoning from a place of pain is okay, because it is pain they are experiencing. It is the fact that they are wounded. Then reasoning from this space, and then you're telling someone, I understand, because I went through it. They do not think you understand, and for sure we do not understand. And the truth is we do not even need to understand, because their experience is very personal. We only need to be present and probably walk the journey with them, not understand. So telling someone you understand may end up leaving them more hurt than supported. Number two thing not to do is do not ask them to be strong. There is no strength in loss. Loss is a place of weakness. Whether it is through death, whether it is through an illness, whether it is loss of property or something meaningful to someone, loss is a very state of weakness. And therefore asking someone, be strong for your children, be strong for your spouse, be strong for, it does not help. It actually makes this one person mask or put a facade of strength so that they can please the outside world, while in actual sense, that is not what they are experiencing. Allowing the person to be weak so that then they can find the strength to move on is the best thing to do. Number three thing not to do is do not prescribe ways that people need to grieve. Cry, moan, wail. When you wail, you feel better. When you eat more, you feel better. When you don't talk about it, you feel better. Do not prescribe ways. Even what worked for you may not work for them. If you want to share what worked for you, that is fine, but share it as your experience, not as something you are prescribing to someone else. Because what you are prescribing to someone else may not work for them. What you can do is just allow them to do it their way, because they are unique individuals. Allow them their own space to grieve their own way. What else not to do? Do not tell people it is God's will. A person who is going through the pain of grief does not have the rationality or the sense to see the will of God in that perspective of their loss. So what you can do is do not bring in the will of God in that particular setup unless they are the ones who feel it is God's will. If the statements comes from them, it's okay. But if it is coming from you, their support system, it can be very defeating. Because I have heard people who are grieving asking questions such that, so if it is God's will, then does it make any sense to take us through the suffering, to allow us to go through this pain? And at that point, it becomes very complex. So allow this person to go it that way without giving them statements of it is God's will. Even if you particularly believe that as a person, let it be your belief. Unless it is coming from the person, then it may not make much sense and it may not support them. Again, do not challenge their belief that at this point in time nothing is working. Because I have heard them, people who are going through grief, being told, you know what? The Lord has blessed you with very many other blessings. So focus on the other blessings, even if you have lost this one. And this especially happens when people miscarry or lose a child. They are told you have 2 or 3 or 4 children. Now, you are already so blessed. Even if you've lost this one, focus on the other children. Or when a miscarriage happens, you're told, you know what, God is going to give you many more children. What you do not realize is those many more do not replace this one they have lost. And even the ones that are there, they are blessings, yes, but they are not replacing this particular one they have lost. So do not take people away from the pain by asking them to focus on the other blessings. Let them grieve this pain of this particular loss. Once they have healed, then they are actually able to focus on the blessings on their own without being told. But at this particular point, they have no capacity to focus on the blessings. They are thinking and seeing things from the point of pain. So support them to go through the pain and heal from it, then they can see the blessing. The other part of not to do is do not take over running the life and the home of a grieving person unless they ask you to. I know the culture in our society really wants to support a grieving person, and that is perfectly fine. But then again, running over, I have seen situations where people, because they have lost a spouse, children are taken away to someone else to care for them, and people come in and run their home, they cook, they disorganize the house, those kind of things. You run the life of the one who is going through the grieving season. However, that is not okay. It is okay to only run their home and their life if they ask you to. If they do not ask you to, allow them to run it as you support them. And it's okay to ask them where they would want you to come in. Ask them, where would you want me to come in? What is it that you would want me to do for you? If they tell you, then run this home, then they have given you the liberty. Unless they do that, you may be interfering with someone's space, because grieving does not mean the person is incapacitated. It does not take away their thoughts. It does not take away their ability. Just that at that moment in time, they are going through a painful process. So if they allow you to run their home, then do it perfectly. If they do not allow you, then ask how they would like you to come in. That way you will be respecting them, respecting their space, and also supporting them. If you're able to do these things, then you'll be a good support system, as opposed to being the one that causes pain to an already wounded person. God bless you.